Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to today's SMSF Audit Integration Experience webinar. I'm your host, Jeevan Toki. So today, all of you will be on listen-only mode, so you'll be able to ask any questions you like through the Q&A panel. So we do have a dedicated Q&A section at the end of today's session. And if you do need to drop out at any time or do have any issues connecting, today's session will be recorded, so you can watch that at a later time. And a link to the recording will be emailed to all attendees. Okay, so today I'm joined by Clint Estevella, who's Head of Sales for Cloudoffis. Welcome, Clint.
Thank you, Jeevan.
And Peter Gallagher, who's Director of Super Green TIC, based in Brisbane.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so today we're going to be covering, I guess, three related but I guess distinct sections. Number one will be the benefits of using Cloudoffis and BGL together. So we're going to do a bit of a Q&A with Clint and Peter there. Then on to the second section of today, which I will cover BGL's accounting work papers. And then lastly, Clint will bring it all together and talk about how the integration with BGL works between obviously Cloudoffis and ourselves, and I guess the benefits providing to both, I suppose, accountants and auditors together. And as mentioned, at the end, we'll have an open Q&A, which you can ask any questions you like. So I'll pass over now to Clint and Peter for the first bit, the benefits of using Cloudoffis and BGL together.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jeevan. And thanks again, Peter, for joining us today. I might just kick off by asking you just to, I guess, to provide a bit of a summary about Super Green TIC, just so everybody's got a bit of a background. Everyone's probably familiar with Cloudoffis and BGL at the moment. So do you want to give us a little bit of a summary about your business, Peter?
Sure. Thanks, Clint. So Super Green TIC, we're, as the name would suggest, focused on superannuation, self-managed superannuation audit. That's our sole business, so that's what we're focused on. We do approximately 3,000 audits at the moment per year. We've got a team based here in Bowral in New South Wales. And, as you would expect with the change in the independence rules, we're kind of fielding a lot of calls at the moment in terms of having to assist people, changing auditors. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview of business. We've been using Cloudoffis, I guess, for the last 3 years as our main audit software. We haven't fully integrated across, but we're in the process of doing that at the moment, so that that'll be our sole platform going forward.
Awesome. And just when you say that you haven't fully integrated across, you've obviously got sources of funds that come from all sorts of different either softwares or even probably desktop to some degree, like many auditors with your types of figures are doing. What benefits have you seen with Cloudoffis, particularly for the ones that you have integrated, and particularly, I guess, the cloud type and BGL type funds?
Yeah, so we take sources from of our audits from anywhere. In terms of the ones that are cloud-based or what I call automated, that's largely where we've integrated with Cloudoffis, so that the information flows through electronically, and we're able to take work papers and whatnot through the portal of Cloudoffis. We've, as I said, been using it for 3 years. As you go through any integration process, it's always a bit of a hard slog the first year. But the second and third years, we've certainly started to see the benefits of using the software. There's a reasonable amount of automation in the audit that we're able to integrate in, and in terms of the reporting as well, it has been a good function for us from an audit perspective. Largely the ones that we haven't integrated have been the ones that are probably more the old traditional ones that have been done on the desktop. For example, that BGL desktop, we just haven't gone down the path of integrating that. Although that is going to be a focus for us from July onwards to get those all integrated, and so that we're using the one platform going forward. I think we've just come to the conclusion that having one process rather than multiple processes is going to be more efficient. And despite the fact that we don't get all of the automation benefits, in terms of using the reporting functionality, we still get enough benefits to use the software.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess just more specifically, since the BGL work papers integration has come about, you've probably had the experience, as you mentioned, with a few years of the cloud integration, where we were pulling in specifically the data itself. But now with the document integration from work papers, how have you guys found that pairing, I guess, as that extra level of automation?
Yeah, so we've, for I guess the last 2 years now, we've had one specific large client that has been using BGL work papers. And that's now increased, to 3 or 4 larger clients that are coming across using that. And certainly from what we've seen in terms of the integration, you're finding that you, as an auditor, and probably as a reviewer within the business, within the accounting business, you're not having to go and search for, the work papers or for the supporting documents, because it's all been integrated within the BGL work papers. So, as I said, whenever you first implement something, you don't always see the benefits up, in that first year. But with this BGL work papers, we have, and it's certainly kind of more efficient for us as an auditor to be using, when we're doing jobs on BGL, 360 work papers.
Absolutely. And then I guess to sort of connect that in with, as you mentioned at the start, this independence change, which is going to then obviously influence how funds move around in the industry and probably consolidate. As you said, you're probably getting a bit busy yourself. So I think a lot of the firms like yourself are going to see an influx of new business. I guess, how does that level of automation and then standardization, so being able to then, add different customers and have different relationships, but all sort of connected in a sort of standard way and sort of getting documents in a standard way. How important do you think that is with the big change that's coming?
I think, look, as you've mentioned, firms like us are going to become a lot busier. So it's been critical for us to automate and systemize, what we do as much as possible as an audit firm. And in terms of, the ability to, wherever we can save time through the process, then that's important to, to our business, as it would be any business. And so for BGL 360, the work paper side, if we had all of our clients on that, in that one single process, that would be ideal, because in terms of familiarity with where things are filed and where supporting documents are going to be in order to support an audit, you can tick to tick, and you're through the large portion of the audit. So we certainly, when we're asked about it, we encourage firms to be using the work papers as much as possible, not only for their own internal benefits, but also in terms of how it seamlessly comes across to us as an independent auditor. So, where previously, if you were doing the audits in-house, there would already be a familiarity with how to present work papers. But if you're going external and you're keeping it consistent, then that's important to that relationship that you're going to have to form with that new audit firm.
Absolutely, excellent. Well, again, Peter, thank you very much. I think some of your input today has been really good. We'd love you to stick around for the Q&A. So yeah, certainly, guys, if anybody's got any questions for, obviously we've spoken to Peter now, but with Jeevan's section and then my section coming in after this, stick around and add your questions to the Q&A.
Cool. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Clint. Okay, so for now, I'm going to show you the BGL accounting work papers. So these work papers have really been designed for the accountant or administrator as part of their year-end compliance or year-end process within, obviously, Simple Fund 360. The work papers are available for any 360 subscriber to use, and obviously are found from the report screen directly there, and can be used for any particular financial year. In terms of generating the work papers, the first step is to go through and generate it based on the financial year. You can see for this particular fund, I've already generated it. If you do need to change the assigned preparer or assigned reviewer, you can, select all accounts, go to bulk update and change one of those particular, persons who have been assigned to this SMSF. Okay, from the lead schedule, you'll be able to see the current year balance, last year balance, and the current status of each of the individual work papers that do go through. So the work papers have been built and based on the trial balance within Simple Fund 360. So you'll see there the same as what you see there on the current trial balance. And we've got some non-trial balance related items such as the financial statements, permanent documents, pension documentation, and estate planning going through there. So go through and click onto the first one. So you can see there all the individual sub-account balances are displayed down below. And I'm able to attach documents, as we discussed before, that feeds through directly into Cloudoffis, either on a sub-account level, so I can go through and attach the individual document there, or where there might be the case of, say, a wrap report or something which applies to all sub-accounts, you can go down below and attach the particular documents there as well. So you do have both there in accordance. What you see will be generated is reports out of Simple Fund 360 automatically. So you can see here, I've got the distribution rec report, which is there automatically. So I can just preview there on screen. And those reports can be set based on the settings and the templates that you have for your work papers there on a firm level. I'll come back to warnings in just a second. Each work paper has a standard checklist. So again, that checklist can be set under your settings there on a firm level. So you can go through and tell those according ones. So we do have some which are based on compliance checks and some which are based on the function within Simple Fund 360. You're able to apply notes. Again, and these notes can be general comments, matters arising, for example, to attention of the manager or reviewer or the partner, for example, an internal query, however you like to classify that. You're able to attach a note to an individual sub-account and it will display there as you do come into the particular work paper, and you can view there from there, or with the lead schedule as well. On the left-hand side there, you'll find a checklist. So if you are working your way through, you're able to go through and tick which ones you have completed and not. So if you do come back at a later stage, you know where to pick up from again. For the individual work paper status, we will try and update this automatically where possible. So the example is when you start working, it will automatically change to in progress. And if we do refresh work papers and the balance changes, and let's say you've marked the work paper as completed, we will push it back to in progress or ready for review in order for you to adjust accordingly. Going back to, the lead schedule, there are a number of warnings that we do generate and based on checks and balances that we are doing. So if I just filter for those, an example might be, as we just saw before, for the distribution one, it might be that the following distributions haven't been reviewed on the distribution tax automation screen. So we'll need to go through and do that accordingly. If I go back, for example, you might have one such as the pension paid. If the minimum pensions haven't been met yet, going through and process those. If any of the balances are negative, for example, bank balance is negative, any suspense accounts have a balance, or any corporate actions haven't been processed. So there'll be some items like that. For things like contributions, you will go through and there might be items like just as a warning, might be just the work test needs to be met for the particular member going through there. So let's go filter that. So in terms of the documents, if you do attach any documents to the transaction screen or the tax data screen, or even a property console, they will feed through automatically into the work paper screen here. So you don't need to attach twice. And for the permanent documents and estate planning, those documents are carried forward year after year, so that you don't need to update again for each financial year going forward. Scrolling forward. So that's in terms of, the document management going forward. Where balances do change, so let's say you've generated the work papers and the balances have changed, you can click on the refresh work paper screen, which will update the balance and update any of the necessary reports. So this can also be applied in terms of the current financial year. So for example, let's say the 2021 year, you can start working on the work papers of that screen, even though the work papers have not, even though the financial year has not completed yet. So it allows you to work on both historical years and current, I suppose, the current financial years, which can be swapped around by just selecting on the drop down there on the right-hand side. As I mentioned briefly, the settings can be, in terms of the checklist and which reports you would like to use, can be tailored there within the settings within the settings screen within work papers there as well. So one of the key things, I suppose, tying it all together in terms of the auditor. So after the accountant has completed or the manager has completed the work papers, as I suppose the next part is getting the information there across to the auditor. So as we mentioned, historically this might have been emailing the documents to the auditor, uploading it manually. Even traditionally going back a number of years might have been mailing it out as a file. So we do have the ability there to export the work papers directly here, or export the documents altogether as a zip file. So if there are alternatives that need to be made, that can be done. As Clint mentioned, and we'll probably demonstrate, is that Cloudoffis has the ability to bring in all those documents automatically. So there's no need to re-upload those documents, either send them to the auditor or the auditor to spend time uploading those directly in. So that's where the key information, I suppose, does lie in. Finally, if you do need to invite the auditor into Simple Fund 360, for those that aren't familiar, you can do this from the invitation screen. So if you go into the users and then invitation, you can invite the individual auditor from that perspective who can go through and complete that. And there is a user role setting that does allow read-only access to the work paper screen if needed as well. So in terms of the work papers within Simple Fund, that's probably all I will cover today. So I'll pass over to Clint, who will cover now Cloudoffis.
Sorry, I muted myself. So thank you very much, Stephen. Let me just share my screen. Okay. All right. I want to focus on a few different things here. So specifically for the auditors that are connected today. So as we sort of discussed at the very start, there's obviously going to be quite a consolidation in the industry. So, things like managing external workflows, automating as much of the work as possible, and then standardizing how those jobs come in is going to be very, very crucial moving forward. So as Jeevan alluded to, Cloudoffis have an excellent integration into BGL 360 work papers. I believe we're the only ones at the moment out of the softwares that are connected. So I'll show you what that looks like and the way that it comes into Cloudoffis. Okay. So what you can see here, I might just get rid of that. So the home screen dashboard, basically you've got a summary of your various statuses, jobs, any internal queries or external queries. So you can actually connect external portals to your accounting customers, and that will allow them to answer any queries, create jobs, and connect with you in various ways. Okay, so to connect into a client, just to start with, if we go up to the admin connect tab, connect to client, really straightforward. You can do as many of these as you need to. ABN name and email, and then you can generate as many of your customers as you want, a portal, okay, for them to connect with you. That portal then looks like this, okay, so they've got the ability to track all of the jobs that they've sent you. They can create jobs as well. Okay, so from the manage client screen, we've got a few integrations. Obviously today we're going to focus on the BGL 360, Simple Fund 360 connection, but we've got a few different other cloud softwares as well as BGL desktop as well. So as Peter alluded to at the very start, we do have the ability to upload desktop data manually to standardize that process along with all the other sources that you're getting your work from, okay? So your client can actually log into their own BGL account from their Cloudoffis portal to create and manage the jobs for you as the auditor. Once the job has been created, we then build you out this fund dashboard. Okay, so this is really where the standardization comes in. So no matter what the source is, we're going to show you a standardized version of the audit itself. Okay, there's several automations that we apply on the fund automatically. So the first one is a risk assessment. So based on some defaulted parameters and some standardized checks, we'll let you know whether the fund's a low, medium or high risk fund. Okay, so we have 7 assessments that we create, but you can edit these, change the parameters, change what the risk result is if those parameters are met, and completely customize that to your own risk profile. We also have a materiality settings option where you can apply materiality defaults to all your funds. Okay, so you can come in and change the percentages, change the classes of balances, percentages and minimum amounts, etc. And then we're going to highlight on each fund the material sections for you automatically. We've then got observations. So these work similar to the warnings that sort of Jeevan was covering off really. So we're doing some checks on the data that we get in from BGL, and we're just highlighting where we've found some red flags. Okay, so at the 11 checks that we do, this particular fund's got 6 in warnings, 2 in good to go, meaning you don't need to worry too much about them, and then 3 not applicable. Okay, so things like a contribution cap. We also pull in the date of birth to work out some of these as well. Okay, another one, negative balances, for example, that we found in the bank accounts. Okay, from a workflow perspective, you can then just mark these as okay as you go through your audit if they are all good. Okay, so a bunch of automations on the fund before you even begin. We then go into the audit itself, and what we do, again, doesn't matter where the source data is coming from, in a standardized way, we'll customize the checklist in this process list on the left. Okay, so for example, if we click into assets, we've got cash at bank, listed investments, and property as an example. Okay, so if there wasn't a property in the fund, then you wouldn't see the checklist. Okay, so the list that you can see on the left here is the audit in its entirety, customized every single time. Okay, so if we go back up to cash at bank, this is the power of the integration that we've got with BGL. So yes, of course, we've got the account information and the underlying transactions that come through, and that's come through since day one. But with the BGL 360, if the work papers are being used as Jeevan demonstrated, when we import the job, we're also importing the documentation as well. Okay, so that again just alleviates that extra step for both the accountant and the auditor to pack up all of the PDFs, use a separate portal, email them over. If the auditor's missing something, or if there's any reworks or sort of back and forth queries, to then request different things and find different things in there. Everything is just automatically pulled in and applied to the various section in Cloudoffis. Okay. Now, once the reports are generated in BGL as well, we're also pulling in up to, I think it's about 27 of the actual reports that BGL generates. So things like the investment movement summary and other generated reports that Jeevan covered. All right, so that's really the main sort of integration piece with BGL and the way that it sort of standardizes the job with the documentation. Okay, for all other jobs that we do bring in, so if we sort of just pop back to customer portal, okay, there is a standardized way that we can get those jobs in. So when we do create a job that isn't, say, a BGL work papers job particularly, okay, so if we just create a job, so we're in the audit customer portal now just to confirm, and we're going to connect to the external auditor. We can then choose internally who we want working on that. Okay, your customers can also upload documentation. Okay, so this is for everything else outside of the BGL work papers. They can simply just add files. Just grab all of those in there like that. Process OCR. And then when that particular dashboard's created, instead of having the documents automatically there, there's just one extra step. Oops, I'm just going to delete this. You can just search basically from the lead schedule and find where that document has appeared. Okay. So you can just bookmark that particular document. Okay, so there is certain levels of integration within Cloudoffis, but we do support desktop, cloud software all the way through to BGL work papers, which is the highest level of integration, and obviously something that both users on the accounting side and the audit side encourage to take advantage of. All right. I won't go through, all the other sort of workflow tools and things like that, but I will just cover off some other features in the external relationship, given how topical it is. So back into the customer portal, we've showed you how to create jobs from various sources. We've showed you the integration with the BGL work papers. There's also the ability to manage all of your queries, so your auditor can raise external queries back to the accountant. The accountant can manage all of those queries. But another great feature is for the accountant to access the auditor templates. Okay, so the auditor could make, for example, an audit engagement letter available for each of their customers to see. Their customer can actually go into their software and use like a mail merge type feature to then generate those particular letters for any or all of their funds. Okay, so for example, 2021, the auditor wouldn't have even created a job for that yet, obviously, but the accountant can come in, generate a letter, and for each fund, we're going to populate, just like a mail merge, all the various sections, and then that letter can go and get signed and then uploaded back into the software by the signed letters feature. And then when the auditor creates the job, all the letters will be automatically attached. Okay, so just some more standardization through the Cloudoffis portal. All right, that's really all I wanted to cover off. Jeevan, how are we going for questions?
I'll just check that out. So in terms of questions, not many have come through yet. So if you do have any questions, please enter them there into the Q&A panel as we do go through. So we've got 5 or 10 minutes where you can answer any questions you do have about anything we do have covered today.
While we're doing that, I might just hand over back to Peter. Just if anybody wants to contact yourself, Peter, what's the best way to do that?
Well, we've got the website, so www.supergreentic.com.au, or just email me, peter@supergreentic.com.au. It might be the easiest way.
And for, I suppose, Clint yourself, I guess, where can people, obviously you've given a very basic demo of Cloudoffis today. People wanted a complete demonstration and I suppose find out more information. We will obviously send out to all attendees, but where can they find out more information?
Yeah, absolutely. So cloudoffis.com.au once again, otherwise clint@cloudoffis.com.au. Again, yeah, high level demo today, just to, I guess, cover off the specific integrations and some of the standardized features. We'll need a bit more time to cover off, obviously, the finer details. So if anybody wants a one-on-one demo, specifically, around their particular processes, absolutely reach out and we can make some time. So a couple of questions now come through. So first one, maybe better
for yourself, Clint, to, I suppose probably a bit of both in a way. So first one there from David. To import the BGL work papers into Cloudoffis, does the auditor need to log into the accountant's BGL system? So Clint, correct me if I'm wrong, this could be twofold. So it could be either the auditor authorizing so Simple Fund 360 if they do have access, or it could be the accountant logging into the Cloudoffis portal and authorizing as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, spot on. So effectively, an auditor at Cloudoffis will, they'll get their own software portal as part of the subscription. But as I showed, you can actually create your customers a portal. So, and again, it depends on whether you've got your auditor access, I guess, to the BGL account and how you normally generate jobs. But if you do, you can log in on behalf using your own auditor credentials to download data and docs and create the job. Otherwise, yeah, the accountant can do it on their side. But yes, I think just to be clear, there is a stage where you do need to sort of go in once you have generated the work papers in BGL. There is another step to either for either the auditor to create the job or for the accountant to create the job in Cloudoffis.
Next question there from Sarah. It was mentioned that the auditor needed read-only access to the work papers. However, recently been advised that the high-level access is needed to flow through into Cloudoffis. I don't think that was the case, but if there's a case, we will correct that if that is an issue with our API access. But I'll take that offline and I'll review that one. Next question there is from Morgana. Can you download a full set of PDF work papers once you finalize a security work papers? Can you access software for some reason? So from I suppose let's handle both sides. So from the BGL perspective, yes, you can click on the export work papers button within the work papers screen, and that'll download a complete list of all the schedules and attached all the source documents attached as well. So you can download a complete list there, or you do have the ability to download all the source documents as well. You do have both options if it's purely there for backup purposes. Clint, I don't even want to cover the same question from a Cloudoffis perspective.
Sorry, Jeevan, I was just reading the next couple of questions.
Can you export, once the work papers are completed for an audit, can you export them? So yeah.
Yes, you absolutely can. Yeah, I do apologise. I was sort of getting ahead of myself there with the rest of the questions. So yes, look, once you've done the audit in Cloudoffis, first thing is, we will keep the data in Cloudoffis for, I think it's 10 years. So, well past the 7-year requirement for keeping that data, but you can just with a click generate those work papers and all the BGL data that's come across and all the BGL documentation. If you generate the work papers in Cloudoffis, all of those will be on a big, it's probably like a 100-page PDF with then hyperlinks to all of those docs that come out into like a attached zip folder.
Yeah. And there's two questions which are very similar from Damien and Caval there that are very similar. Can you download the entire audit file as a separate document? And can you download in terms of PDF? So I think you've covered sort of both of those as well. So the answer there is obviously yes for those. Question there, I suppose, is how do you create the audit job from within BGL 360? So the answer there, so Clint covered it sort of just off before. You don't. The audit job, I suppose, is created from Cloudoffis itself. As you mentioned, Clint, I suppose can be created by either the auditor or the accountant.
That's right. Yep. That's right. And it's probably a 50-50 split, really, I think. Yeah, I mean, I might even ask Peter. Like, Peter, are you usually generating the jobs on your side, or you're leveraging the customer portals that Cloudoffis offers?
I think we're starting to encourage the clients or our customers to be raising the job because that therefore ensures that there's quality review there to make sure that what they're putting across they're meaning to put across from an audit perspective. I guess historically we've found that if firms just go and, for lack of a better word, dump information there, it can be a bit problematic. So no, we have been getting customers to use the portal, and it also ensures that all the follow-up is all kept in one spot, and we're not having to trudge through emails and the like, and it basically ensures that things don't get missed as well because we've got that completeness check. So yeah, we are encouraging customers to be using that portal.
Yeah.
Hey, there's
The
a
only thing
question
there is-
here. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to add, like, obviously the only thing there is, there is a bit of a behaviour change, I guess, for your customers to get onto that. But once it is sort of all sorted out in the process, then there's, a lot of benefits, as you mentioned.
Hey, there's a question here, and I don't know if you want to give away any secrets or not, but they're asking how long is your average audit taking, and maybe another way on that question of rephrasing might be, what's probably what percentage of work's cut down from the BGL integration over, I suppose, non-Word Papers integration?
Okay, so we're looking at the efficiencies of using BGL work papers compared to, say, BGL. We at the moment are estimating that we're getting a 5 to 10% time efficiency. It really depends on what is in the fund, how much transactions are in the fund. It's really difficult. The average super fund is quite a generic question. I don't think there is an average super fund, to be honest. It all kind of depends. So if there's a lot of transactions in there, you're probably getting a slightly higher efficiency. If there's not that many transactions in there, then you'll be getting less of an efficiency. So we're estimating somewhere between that 5 to 10% mark.
Perfect. So a question there from Stephen: can electronic signatures be used on the letters and reports? And so I'm assuming that's what you showed before, Clint. So I think you did touch on the signature part, but if you want to extend on that.
Yes. So look, at the moment, the letters, as I said, it's really like a mail merge type feature, right? So you leave a template in there, and if you've got over 100 accountants, they can all generate the letter, and we will then pull in the specific fund information. So the way to get around the signatures at the moment is firms are just like got an image of their signature, and that's really historically what we've been, how people have been using it. However, we're currently building a DocuSign integration at the moment, so there will be that extra process of being able to leverage signature technology to get those reports signed.
And Peter, a question there from Craig: why haven't you used Cloudoffis for your desktop funds yet?
Essentially, it hasn't been historically an easy process to do the upload, and it requires, an auditor's intervention to do that. We can't get administrative people to do that particular task for us, and we weren't essentially getting the benefits, or we weren't seeing the benefits out of that. That process has improved, and we've just recently retrialed it. So it works, I would say, very well with the BGL desktop, and it works okay with the other funds, whether it be Handysoft or MyOb or whatnot. But essentially, we're having to create a TB in order to do that upload. So there is extra time involved in doing that. But we've essentially in the past didn't see the benefit, but because of the improvements that have been made, we're now seeing that.
I dare say in the next sort of 24 months, those desktop funds will be reduced quite significantly as well.
We're certainly hoping so, and that was, I guess, part of our other strategy, is that as the people shifted from desktop to 360, there was no real need for us to do it. And while we've seen that, we've still got a reasonable chunk of people still on desktop.
Okay. That's all the questions we I guess have for the moment. So Peter and Clint, anything else you wanted to add?
No, all good. I think I think we covered off some really good questions and everything that we wanted to get across. Okay, so thank you both for your time today. So just a reminder for all attendees, we will email through Clint and Peter's details if needed, and we will provide a link to today's recording if you'd like to rewatch or you missed any part of it. So we thank you for attending today. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.